explosion. Explosion.mp4.
Yes, good. Explosions. Explosion.
Wow! Hello everyone, I'm George, and today I'm joined by...
It's me, Jervis.
And today we're gonna take a look at my bomb Pokemon. If you haven't seen them yet, go take a look at the video. Alright, so let's start with Boomish. What do you think about this little guy?
I just love the little gremlin energy this dude has. He looks like an enemy in the first level of a Mario game.
Yeah, when I looked up the shape of, its shape category as well, it has that stupid vacant stare. I thought that's really funny. It looks like that cat meme.
Yes, no thoughts, head empty.
Exactly. Although this guy's head is very full of evil thoughts, I think. Alright, so let's talk about it. Dark Fire type. What tier do you think he fits into?
Well, in Little Cup, I think this guy has a few interesting niches. Dark Fire is a very good stab combination, offensively speaking. Only about 4% of all Pokemon resist it, and you don't really see a ton of relevant things there in that tier, to my knowledge.
Yeah, nothing really comes to mind. I mean, Water Dark. I don't think Carnivana. I don't know. I'll look up how to pronounce it later. I don't think that stupid shark thing is really going to show up too much in Little Cup right now, right?
Yeah. And of course, Effect Spore is always a pretty decent ability to have, if only because you can punish the opponent for playing Pokemon.
Is it actually that useful? I mean, the way I remember it, it's an annoying ability, but it's like annoying for both sides, which is why I thought it's appropriate, since it's just so kind of random and just obnoxious.
Yeah, it's very random and unreliable, but in a slower metagame like Little Cup, that can sometimes be pretty good. I don't think he's doing too much in other tiers with Eviolite, but he's he could just be a fun little gremlin in Little Cup.
Yeah, although his offensive spread is kind of crap, right?
Yeah, not the best. Though, potentially he could get access to some moves like, say, Taunt or Torment or something.
Yeah, probably.
And those are...
And Will-O-Wisp. I don't know how useful that is in Little Cup.
Very good, actually. It shuts down any physical attacker.
Is the accuracy on it still completely crap?
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue, but people still run it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just running around with say, Torment, Taunt, Sucker Punch. Will-O-Wisp, I could see it as being like a decent support mon, is just a meme.
And what item? Just an Eviolite?
Yeah, most things in Little Cup run an Eviolite. So yeah, you could make it a pretty good evil gremlin monster.
Yeah, if only there were some kind of offensive equivalent of Eviolite.
Yeah. There's just Scizor in the corner. Just tapping on the wall. It's a gimme Game Freak Sama. Or Scyther, excuse me.
Yeah. Alright, so what's your verdict for this guy?
I have to give this guy a B. And yeah, he's Gremlin out of 10. Little Cup.
Alright. And now let's take a look at Breboom. We've discussed we've discussed a potential signature move for this guy, something that could maybe be interesting.
Yeah, Breboom is kind of interesting. Breloom currently is in UU, mostly for the combination of Bullet Seed plus Technician plus the Loaded Dice item, which lets it churn out a decent amount of damage. This guy, I could see him working very differently. Because, let's see. You get access to some pretty interesting abilities and some moves like or some interesting moves rather, on Dark and Fire. Dark Pulse obviously is pretty good for the ability to just lower some stats randomly. Fire Blast, Flamethrower, all of those are pretty good coverage moves. Flash Fire doesn't come up extremely often outside of like some niche stuff in say VGC where you where you blast your own Pokemon with a fire move to trigger it. Though I guess you could easily switch them in on a oncoming fire attack and just boost them up that way. And I remember we discussed the idea of a signature move that hits once at the beginning of the turn and once at the end of the turn to let you catch stuff that's using a pivot move.
Yeah, exactly. And with Technician as its second or third ability, it could potentially actually be kind of powerful.
Yeah, I remember we discussed 50 base power on both attacks. With Technician, that bumps it up to, I believe, 75 each time, which brings it up to an equivalent 50 base power move coming off 130 special attack.
Which is pretty strong.
Yes, it is. Admittedly, it would probably die to a flip turn, but if you're just like taking a U-turn, for example, that's not going to do much of anything to you, and whatever switches in is going to potentially take both attacks, or one attack if you use it before a U-turn.
Yeah,
So
either way,
pretty...
if this guy survives the attack, we're going to have a bad time.
Pretty much, yeah. I can see this guy doing some interesting things with Technician. There's some very decent dark type moves that can benefit from that. I think you can potentially do some stuff with Beat Up, because Beat Up's damage is very weird and unreliable, but I think it has some interesting interactions with Technician. Because Beat Up doesn't actually use your attack stat, it uses the attack stat of everything else in your party.
Alright, so what do you think this guy will struggle against?
Obviously, Water is arguably the best type in the game currently.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
Yeah, rain teams have always been super relevant. If you try to use them in OU at all, you'll end up staring down Dondozos and Azumarill pretty frequently.
Yeah,
and Azumarill
I don't
is
see
kind
this
of
guy
like
having any shot at getting into OU.
Yeah. Well, even OU Pokemon do show up in OU or even Ubers from time to time just because they fill a specific slot on the team. But, yeah, so, something like, say, an Azumarill just kind of ruins this poor guy's day.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Technician, I can see him being very UU viable. Is just like an alternative special attacking Breloom.
And what's your final verdict for him?
I'm probably gonna give this guy a B+ just because I find his overall style really interesting. Like the idea of building a Pokemon specifically around countering pivoting moves with his own attack. It's pretty interesting.
Alright, and last one for today, Clamperl.
Clamperl is a very interesting Pokemon to me just because it's going to be more defensive than normal Clamperl just because Steel type. Anything with the Steel type is going to be more defensive than things without the Steel type on average. Just because of how good it is. Oddly enough, this guy would probably still be a Little Cup special attacker because of how good the Deep Sea Tooth is.
Oh yeah.
If you're not familiar, the Deep Sea Tooth basically just doubles Clamperl's special attack. And since items like that usually work on regional variants, this would also be able to use the Deep Sea Tooth. So even though its physical attack is higher, it would likely still use that. Besides that, I get the feeling this guy would probably have Explosion to make use of that higher attack.
Of course. One of my friends actually brought up the idea of giving it an ability that specifically boosts the power of explosion type moves. Although I don't know how useful that is.
I mean, well, let me put it this way. People are currently running Regieleki entirely so it can explode on the first turn knockout things. So yeah, Explosion is surprisingly viable, especially in VGC, where if you just have like a Ghost type and a Pokemon with Explosion, you can just potentially take out or at least heavily weaken 2 of your opponent's Pokemon on turn 1.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But is Little Cup actually run in doubles at all?
Typically not, but it is worth noting at least. I have seen a few, it's not like the official Smoke-On formats, but you will occasionally see doubles Little Cup. And it would probably be pretty good in those just because of that.
Actually, are its defenses not quite high enough to warrant running it with Eviolite?
I mean, that defense with Eviolite is very solid, especially in Little Cup. Its special defense is also pretty good. It's just that, you know, Deep Sea Tooth's special attacking boost is usually good enough to run on its own. There's also Deep Sea Scale, which doubles, I believe, its defense. It's the item you use to, you know, slap on Gorbis. So you could give it Deep Sea Scale and just make it a physical wall in Little Cup, which would also be pretty good.
Yeah, I can imagine doubling 100 defense to be pretty good, pretty good in Little Cup, at least.
Yep. Yeah, but it would definitely be really good. I could also see it running, depending on like the status moves it got, it could make use of Shell Smash potentially.
Oh yeah, it's definitely getting Shell Smash.
So it would, I can see this guy making some good, being a bit explosive, I guess you could say, in the Little Cup scene.
Yeah, imagine that, a Clamperl sweep. Absolutely horrible mental image, honestly.
Yeah, you just show up to the to a Little Cup tournament carrying a suitcase, and then just throw the suitcase out instead of a Pokeball, and then just he pops open, and it's sweeping time.
All right. So what's your verdict for him?
I'm gonna grade this guy an A-, just because I like the idea of just exploding Steel type suitcase Clamperl, and again I could see it having a lot of different sets in Little Cup actually.
Yeah, for if it were any Pokemon other than Clamperl, it would probably be pretty one-dimensional. I actually didn't even take the Deep Sea Scale and all of those other items into account when I designed it.
Yeah, but by virtue of being a Clamperl variant, it has a lot of different tools that make it deceptively complex.
Yeah.
I'm very curious if you end up like doing a sequel to this video. I would like to see what it evolves into. That sounds pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, if you do want to see that, make sure to comment. Wink, wink. Alright. So, we've reached the end of the video. Any closing thoughts?
Explosion. Explosion.mp4.
Exactly. Alright, thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you for having me on again.
And goodbye.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, etc, etc. And if you have any ideas of your own of what I should draw next, feel free to comment down below. Bye bye.